Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Today we're tackling something pretty special, Kendrick Lamar's GNX.
Ooh, yeah, this one's a classic.
Yeah, and we're not just doing a typical album review here.
No way.
We're going way deeper, like exploring the symbolism, the themes, the philosophy, all that good stuff.
It's a dense one.
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like, how does Lamar connect his personal journey to the whole evolution of hip-hop? And what does a car from the 80s have to do with all of it?
Oh, so many questions.
Right. But don't worry, we've got an expert here to help us unpack it all.
Well, I'll do my best to shed some light on it all. I mean, what's fascinating is how Lamar manages to weave together so many different threads in GNX, right? You've got his own life story, his place in the West Coast rap scene, and then, like, the bigger picture of where hip-hop is going. It's a real statement.
Totally. And it all starts with that title, GNX. I mean,
Right.
it's not just a random word, right?
Nope, not at all.
Get ready for this. It's actually a 1987 Buick Grand National Experimental, the car that brought Lamar home from the hospital when he was born.
How cool is that?
It's amazing.
It's so deliberate, you know? That GNX, it becomes this powerful symbol throughout the whole album. It represents cycles, the passage of time, and going back to your roots, you know? It's like he's saying, look, this is where I come from, literally and artistically, and that helps me figure out where I'm going next.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, have you ever felt like you needed to retrace your steps to really understand where you are now?
All the time.
Me too. It's like that feeling of going back to your childhood home and suddenly, bam, all these memories you'd forgotten come rushing back.
Exactly. And Lamar, he does this musically too. Remember G-Funk, that classic West Coast sound from the 90s? Well, he brings it back in GNX, but it's not just nostalgia. He's like weaving it into his own sound, showing that he's part of that legacy, but he's also pushing it forward, you know?
Okay, so we've got the GNX is this symbol of his roots, his journey. But this album also came out right after his feud with Drake and after he left Top Dog Entertainment.
Yeah.
Did those events influence the album at all, do you think?
Absolutely. You can feel that sense of independence in GNX. Like he's saying, I've earned my place, I'm setting my own rules now, and I'm going to explore everything hip-hop can be. Real sense of autonomy.
And he's not afraid to get deep, right? I mean, Reincarnated,
Yeah.
that song blew my mind. He's talking about past lives, conversations with God, the whole thing, heavy stuff.
Oh, yeah, it's intense. It's incredible how he brings these big philosophical questions into a hip-hop album, you know, like existence, our purpose in life. These are things we all think about, right? And Lamar connects it back to that GNX, that symbol of returning to your beginnings. It's almost like Nietzsche's idea of eternal return, that concept where everything just repeats itself endlessly.
Wow, I never thought of it like that.
Hmm.
So it's like the music itself is reflecting these big ideas.
Exactly. Listen to how the beat in Reincarnated keeps cycling back to that same motif, mirroring Lamar's thoughts on what happens after we die, you know?
That's amazing. And then there's Heart Part 6, which is such a raw look at his time with Black Hippie and how it all fell apart.
Right, and what strikes me about that track is how he uses something called the Socratic method. He's not just telling us what happened. He's asking himself these tough questions about his own role, even admitting his flaws. It's really humble.
So it's like he's having a conversation with himself, trying to figure things out.
Exactly. It's like he's saying, hold on, was I part of the problem here? No ego, no blame, just self-awareness and a desire to grow. GNX is all about confronting ourselves, you know,
Yeah.
and our limitations. It's true, you know. Music can really make you think about your own life, your own choices, how you've grown, or maybe where you haven't.
Totally. You know, speaking of growth and cycles and all that, the sonic landscape of this album, it's crazy. Just as complex as the lyrics.
Oh, for sure.
Like TV Off. It starts so minimal, almost quiet, and then bam, it explodes with all these sounds.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Lamar's a genius at using music to mirror his themes, right? So that shift you're talking about on TV Off, that quiet string part at the beginning, it's like a moment of clarity, you know?
Yeah, okay.
And then those horns, they come crashing in, representing all the chaos of the world, all the things that can pull us off track. It's like he's mapping out that internal struggle we all have, trying to find clarity in the middle of all the noise.
Wow, and we can't talk about the sound without mentioning that G-Funk, right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere on the album. Like Dodgers Blue feels like a straight-up love letter to LA.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that connection to his roots, to the history of West Coast hip hop, but he's blending it with his own style, which is so cool.
Yeah.
And then he brings in these incredible collaborators who add like even more depth to the album's message. Didera Barrera, for example, her vocals on Reincarnated and Gloria are so haunting, so introspective. It adds this whole other emotional layer.
Oh, yeah. And then you have artists like Peso and Roddy Ricch bringing in that raw energy, right?
Yeah, it's like a bridge between different generations of West Coast rappers,
Yeah.
passing the torch.
I love that. Okay, so the album is structured so intentionally, right? It's like a journey.
Totally. The sequencing of the tracks, it's not random at all. Lamar's taking us on a trip through all these different themes and emotions.
It starts with that epic story in whacked out murals,
hmm
exploring art and legacy and all that. Then it shifts, right? It gets more personal.
Yeah. With the tracks like Man at the Garden, it's like he's inviting us into his own process of self-discovery. And then it all builds towards that finale, Gloria, right? It leaves you with this sense of hope, this idea that growth is a process that never really ends. He's faced his demons, acknowledged his past, and now he's moving forward.
And it's not just about Lamar's personal journey, though, right?
Mm.
This album has a lot to say about the state of hip hop.
Definitely. He's wrestling with some big questions about where the genre is headed. Like, he's concerned about how hip hop has become so commercial, so focused on money and corporate interests.
Yeah, you can hear that in Watch the Party Die, right? Like,
Yeah.
has rap lost its soul?
Exactly. And then there's, the whole Drake thing.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that.
It adds another layer to the album, right? Because on the surface, it's like this ego battle, a competition. But Lamar is pushing us to look deeper, to see that tension between ego and essence. Chasing fame versus staying true to your art.
Oh, I see. So it's about the pressures of the music industry, right?
Yeah.
Like how easy it is to compromise your values.
Right. It makes you think, what does it mean to be a leader in hip hop? Is it about being on top of the charts, or is it about something more? Is it about pushing boundaries, using your voice to say something real?
It's about responsibility, right? What you do with your
Yeah.
influence.
Exactly. And GNX makes you think about all of that. It's not just entertainment. It's art that makes you think, question things, look at the world differently. It's like, go beyond the surface, figure out what it all means.
I love that. And the way the album unfolds, it's like it's taking us through different stages of self-discovery.
It really is. First, we're exploring art and legacy, and then it becomes more about personal reflection. And finally, you get this feeling of redemption and purpose. It all comes full circle. Remember that whole cycle theme with the GNX?
Yeah, yeah.
The ending of the album, it's not a final stop, it's a new beginning. And I think that's the challenge Lamar's giving us as listeners. Like, examine your own cycles. What are those patterns that keep you stuck? Are you really evolving?
That's deep.
Yeah.
It goes back to that idea of GNX being a statement about identity, not just Lamar's own identity, but like West Coast hip hop, the whole genre even.
Totally. It's like all these layers from the super specific to the universal. It's a good reminder that we're all part of something bigger. Our individual journeys fit into these larger stories.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, the lyrics, the music, the themes, the whole context, but what's the key takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think the big thing is that GNX is a call to action. It's a challenge to engage with art more deeply, to think critically about what we're consuming, and to use our own voices to keep the conversation going about identity, purpose, the future of hip hop, all of it. He's saying, don't just listen, participate, question things, engage.
Love it. Pushing boundaries, breaking down barriers, using music to make a difference.
Right. And at its core, hip-hop is storytelling, connecting with others, sharing experiences, grappling with life's complexities. It can be super personal and relatable at the same time.
It's a reminder that music can make us think, feel, and see the world in new ways. And GNX, it's a perfect example of that.
It also shows how important it is to be authentic, to stay true to yourself, even when there's pressure to conform or chase, like commercial success.
So what does GNX tell us about the future of hip-hop? Is it a sign that things are changing, becoming more introspective, more philosophical?
It shows how hip-hop can adapt and change with the world. Lamar proves it's more than just beats and rhymes. It's a platform for exploring ideas, making social commentary, growing as a person.
It's an invitation to everyone, artists and listeners, to engage with hip-hop on a whole new level, to push the boundaries and use music to create real change. Wow, that's powerful.
It really is, and that's what we love about these deep dives. It's not just listening, it's about understanding the context, the nuances, the impact music has on us. It's like peeling back the layers, uncovering hidden meanings, seeing the bigger picture.
It's about engaging with art in a way that challenges us, inspires us, changes how we think, and having fun doing it. We get to explore all these amazing artists, dive into different genres, share it all with you guys.
Exactly. And with GNX, we've gone deep, haven't we? Explored the symbolism, the lyrics, the music, the track list, what it all means for hip hop.
We talked about ego versus essence, staying true to yourself, how music can connect us and challenge us. And hopefully this is giving you a better understanding of this incredible album.
Yeah, it's been great breaking it down with you. We hope you've gained a new perspective on GNX and its impact.
But before we wrap up, we want to leave you with one last question, something to ponder. So think about GNX and all those themes about cycles, right? Have you ever felt stuck in a cycle in your own life? Like maybe a behavior you can't break, a way of thinking, even just a situation you can't get out of. What did you do? How did you overcome it? Or what are you still working on, to change?
Man, that's such a powerful question. It's like we all need to figure that out for ourselves, But GNX gives us this framework for looking inward. It's a roadmap for exploring our inner world and hopefully coming out the other side transformed, right?
And it's not like Lamar is like judging anyone. He's not pointing fingers. He's more like holding up a mirror saying, hey, take a look. Are you really living intentionally or are you just going through the motions?
Exactly. It's all about awareness, recognizing those patterns that might be holding us back. Once we see them, we can break free, create new stories for ourselves.
So it's not just listening to GNX for the music. It's taking those ideas and applying them to our own lives. Art can be a catalyst, for growth, for seeing things differently, for becoming better versions of ourselves.
Totally. I mean, that's what makes this duck dive so rewarding, right? We're not just dissecting an album. We're on this journey with Kendrick Lamar, who, let's be honest, is one of the most brilliant minds in music right now.
Absolutely. It's been awesome exploring this album with you all today. We hope you've got a deeper appreciation for GNX now, for the artistry, the depth, how powerful it is.
Yeah, and if this sparked your interest, check out more of his work. There's so much to discover in his music.
Remember, self-discovery, the journey, right? Keep questioning, keep exploring, keep evolving.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Kendrick Lamar's GNX.
Until next time, keep those brains working.